So it clearly looks like I've hit a nerve in the comment section with some English Premier League fans. And if you've followed me here from TikTok or you've seen me in TikTok, you know I can't keep my mouth shut. So let's react to that. What's happening, Celtic family? Let's begin this as we do every single video. If you have not subscribed, please smash the subscribe button below. It really does help me build this channel and it is absolutely free for you to do so. Let's get into the video. Listen, before we even get into this video, I've already stated on here that I'm not going to be like every other football channel, every other Celtic channel that there is. There is plenty of brilliant Celtic channels out there where they comment about the game, they actually bring up graphics, they tell you about stats, they tell you about all that. And they're all fantastic. I watch most of them because I think that they all do a great job and they're all there for what they're there for and they do a great job at it. I told you at the beginning, even before I started this YouTube thing, I was on TikTok and I came on there, gave my opinion, but I also answered people in the comments. And if you've seen my TikTok, you will know fine well that I don't pull any punches because you come on to TikTok and in the comment section and get to say what you want. I will say exactly what it is that I feel. And that is what this whole YouTube channel is about. It's about me as a Celtic supporter giving my opinion. If you want to see stats on everything and different things like that, I will pull them up from time to time when I think it's relevant to do so. But this isn't going to be that kind of channel. I came out with a song called Boys in the Green. I wanted to promote that, started a YouTube channel. I've also got other things and events, Celtic events that I want to put on and that is sitting in the background. I've also got a clothing line dedicated towards Celtic supporters that I'm in the middle of producing and making. So this is why I started this YouTube channel. But plus, I wanted to come on here and have that opportunity to come on and talk about the game, talk about how I feel about Celtic and the way that they've played or how their season's been, or transfers coming in the door. But it's not going to be just about sitting there and giving match reactions. As I said, there is plenty of good Celtic channels out there that do that, and I will do that because I want to voice my opinion. If you agree with it, great. If you don't, that is what the comment section's for, to agree or disagree. But while you're in the comment section, keep it PG, guys. Let's just keep it where we can sit and have a discussion. Now, a lot of yous on there think that you can jump on and say what you want. And when you're on there and you're actually being pretty nasty to people, all I'll do is take you off it or block you or whatever it is I have to do. If you don't like my videos, move on. Watch somebody else's video because you can't take what it is I've got to say. As I said, just a Celtic supporter giving his opinion. That is it. But I've had a lot of comments from people in the English Premier League, obviously after the video, which I will link at the end of this video so you can go and have a look and you can give your own comments in there going on about what I said and how Celtic should be given their due, because every time we play an English Premier League team we always put up a fight. Now there's plenty to go through. I'm going to stick them up on this. You can see the comments that have been left and I will give my honest reaction to it. But there has been news on incomings, outgoings and everything in between, and Brendan Rodgers gave his press conference yesterday, so we will discuss that type of thing at the end, but I'm definitely answering these comments. So let's get in it. So listen, there's a lot of people kind of just saying the same thing, but one of them things is I'm going to bring it up. First of all, I'm going to read it from my computer. I'll bring it up on the screen, exactly one of the comments, but this comment is mentioned a lot, so let's answer this one. So listen, we've got Johnny Hall here. I actually went back and forward with Johnny for a bit. Turns out he's actually quite a nice guy. He said in it, listen mate, it's just banter, and listen, it is 100% banter for me, but there's an element of truth in it as well. But let's bring up and let's read Johnny's comment. This is one of many that Johnny made. You'll find it in the comment section of the video, but he said both clubs big in Scotland, that's it, meaning both Celtic and Rangers are big in Scotland, and that's it. So the simple way to answer this is that there is not one English team, in fact, bar one English team that is bigger than Celtic in stature. Simple as that. Celtic are one of the biggest clubs, and even that other mob from across the city, are some of the biggest clubs on the planet in stature, as in fan base, globally, more famously known. Celtic are bigger than any club in the English Premiership worldwide, bar Man United. Simple as that. That is fact. That is fact. Now this guy turns out to be a Villa supporter. Nobody knows who Aston Villa are, mate, and the rest of the planet, apart from people who watch English Premier League. Listen, I've sat there and I have spoke to Villa supporters on here, and I'm going to bring up some of their comments because some of them are actually pretty good. They're actually not looking through sort of English Premier League tinted glasses. They're looking at it as a whole. I'm going to bring up some of their comments, and I think most of them who have commented would probably agree. And you've been watching far too much Jason Cundy and listened to TalkSport way too much, because that is the type of shite that comes out his mouth. Because you know, I know, and we all know how big Celtic and Rangers are. How much bigger they are than pretty much every single club in the English Premier League. In stature, in revenue, you guys are way above us. Way above us. But we'll get into that later on and why that is. And we'll get into the whole how much you get for winning the English Premier League and how much you actually get for getting relegated compared to what we get for winning the Scottish Premier League. But that comment is just absolute dog's bollocks. And you know it is, because Celtic and Rangers as a club, more well known, are massive compared to any other club in the English Premier League, bar Man United. Simple. Listen, pal, I'm telling you. Sorry, big man. Sorry. You wouldn't compete with championship teams. The only reason you do okay against English teams is because you treat them as a cup final. Can you imagine clubs like Leeds, Sunderland, Middlesbrough going to Parkhead? It would be their cup finals and you wouldn't cope. I honestly think you would come about 10th in the championship. Look at the way you're talking. You need to get out more. Listen, Edward-Q9G, thank you very much, my man, for your comment, but what a load of fucking bollocks. What a load of bollocks, mate. For a start, if Celtic were to go anywhere and go to a different league, they would 100% not go to the Championship. What would they go to the Championship for? Listen, I go to the Championship, it's not a problem. But what would we go to the Championship for? How does that make any sense? Take what I said in the last comment. Where Celtic are bigger than any team, bar Man United, in the English Premier League. So think how massive we are to any championship team. Massive. Absolutely massive. So, in a business sense, how would it make any sense if the English Premier League or English football at all were having a discussion about Celtic and Rangers both going down to play in England? How would it make any sense at all, a business sense, would it make to put them in the Championship? Championship make a lot of money, but with Celtic and Rangers in the Premier League, forget it. With that derby being played in the English Premier League, it's the biggest derby, one of the biggest derbies in the world. You can go on about whatever derbies that you've got. Man United, Man City, they are not a patch. They are not a patch on Celtic Rangers. They're not. Simple as that. Be upfront and totally honest with yourself. These are two teams that are absolutely massive, right? And the thing is, the only difference between the Scottish Premier League and the English Premier League, as I said, and we will get into, is money. The English Premier League is a spectacle. It is a tourist league. It has had so much money and does get so much money thrown into it. It is unreal. Use your brain a little bit, right? And think, if Celtic and that other mob from across the city were down in the English Premier League, how much revenue the both them clubs would get and the amount of top class players it would attract. Because do not get it twisted. We are in a league where maybe these top class players do not want to play. But put Celtic and Rangers in the English Premier League. You are trying to tell me that these big players, big, massive, well-known players, amazing players, would not want to play for either Celtic or Rangers with the fan base that they've got and how big the clubs are. You are living in dreamland. And if you honestly think for 1 minute that Celtic going down to the Championship, even under that money, even under the money they get in the Championship, because I believe that it is, I'll get into this, but I believe you get about 2 million, 2.2 million or something like that for getting relegated out of the English Premiership, whereas we get 3.3 million for winning the Scottish Premiership. But you have to be having a laugh, mate, and this needs to be a joke if you don't think that Celtic, under the revenue that teams get in the English Premiership, would not be a force. Because you are mad if you think that. John Smith, thank you very much for your comment, mate. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you getting involved in the comment section. This is what you've got to say. Although Celtic were skillful and resilient, I thought that the individual players were very lightweight, to be honest. Almost seemed like men against boys. And really, if Watkins, 1, had scored a penalty, 2, driven a shot instead of stroking it into the net to be cleared off the line, 3, beat Schmeichel when he was 1-on-1, 4, Ramsey being more lucky than hitting the post, and 5, Morgan beating Schmeichel again on his 1-on-1, then the score could easily have been 9-2 or even more. Look, listen, John Smith, thanks again, mate, for your comment. I do appreciate it, and let me answer it. The thing is, if you go back and look at the video, I said that Aston Villa well and truly deserved to win that game. I thought they played some amazing football, and as I said in the video, that they're not a team that I actually watch really that much. But watching that game makes me want to go see who they're playing and watch one of their games, because I actually really enjoyed the way that they would press Celtic and they would press any team. I had watched a couple of games up to it and I was pretty impressed, I've got to admit. I watched a few games up into the Celtic game and I was impressed. But the Celtic game, obviously you're more invested in it. So, I mean, I'll take nothing away from Aston Villa. I thought Aston Villa played some really good football. But in your comment here, it's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas, ifs, buts and maybes. The thing is, that's the game, mate. That's the game. Had he scored a penalty? He didn't score a penalty. Had he driven his shot instead of stroking it, and he had driven it, put his laces through it, then it would have went in and Alistair Johnston would have cleared it off the line. But he didn't, and Alistair Johnston did clear it off the line. Ramsey being more lucky than hitting the post. But he wasn't lucky. He did hit the post. That's the thing. Morgan beating Schmeichel on a 1-on-1. Yeah, but he didn't beat him. That's the thing. And I'm not just saying you, John. We all do it. Oh, we could have won 7. Yeah, but you fucking didn't. That's the game. That is the game. There's no point in saying, if this happened, if that happened. It didn't. It didn't. Celtic also had their chances and they were really wasteful in that game. Had they have taken their chances a wee bit more, we'd have seen us get breakthrough on goal. We'd have seen us break through on goal and possibly scored a wee bit more. Now, we didn't hit the bar, we didn't hit the post, but there was a few times there that we made sloppy decisions. Our decision making wasn't the best. That could have cut the defence open and could have seen us through, and we could have possibly been in and goal. But we didn't take them opportunities, just exactly like Aston Villa didn't take them opportunities. That's the game. That is the game. So there's no point in going on about ifs, buts and maybes. It didn't happen. That's the thing. So, but I do get what you're saying. And listen, mate, I'm not against what you're saying. I think Aston Villa said that at the time. We're brilliant. Really good to watch. So much so that I think I wouldn't mind watching Aston Villa again. Because I actually really enjoyed, even though they were playing against us, I enjoyed the way that they play football. So, taking nothing away from Aston Villa, and that's the thing with that video. They've got a lot of Aston Villa supporters on here. Some of them agreeing, some of them disagreeing. But not once did I say that Aston Villa didn't deserve to win that game. I thought some of their football was phenomenal. And I've said to other Aston Villa supporters in the comment section, congratulations on your Champions League run. It's been phenomenal. You have done so well. So, listen, John, I hope that sort of answers the way that I feel about it. Doesn't mean that it's right. That's just the way I feel about it. But football's football, and these things happen. You didn't take your chances, we didn't take our chances, so you can't really go on by saying, well, it should have been 7 or 8-2 or 7 or 8-2. It wasn't 7 or 8-2, so therefore it shouldn't have been 7 or 8-2 because you didn't put your chances away, and neither did we. Simple as that. So Dave's been on. Dave's saying Villa haven't scored 4 all season until they played Celtic, and let's face it, it could have been 6 or 7, and we had a 21-year-old first ever first team start. Listen, Dave, thanks again, mate, for your comment, but let me answer this. Okay, you scored 4 and you haven't scored 4 all season, but you also, in the Champions League, haven't had 2 scored against you at home. Celtic scored 2 against you in quick succession at home. We didn't get off to the best start. We did not get off to the best start. You guys came in, you pressed us high, and you got 2 brilliant goals from it. Right at the before 4 minutes was even in, you had 2 goals against us. Now, you've got to admit, Celtic showed so much heart there, Dave. They showed so much heart to come back and equalise it and get back to 2-2. And especially putting 2 against a brilliant Aston Villa side. They're a good team. To put 2 against them in quick succession like that, Aston Villa didn't know what had hit them, because in that Champions League campaign, you haven't had 2 goals scored against you at home. Celtic done that. Celtic done that. Give them their props for that. And as I said in the previous 6 or 7 you could have had. You could have had 6 or 7. You didn't get them. You didn't get them. So let's forget about it. You didn't get them. How many times has that happened in the English Premiership? How many times has that happened in the Scottish Premier? How many times has that happened in football where teams could have absolutely leathered clubs, but they didn't? And don't get me wrong, in that second half, Dave, you had a lot of possession. You had a lot of possession in the first half. Celtic knew that that was what was going to happen. If you go back and look at my previous videos, I said that before the game. Celtic are going to have to be on top of it when it comes to defending, because Aston Villa are going to have a lot of the ball. I also said Alistair Johnston was going to be in for a tough night down that left-hand side, because what I've seen of Aston Villa, they'll like to utilise the left wing and they create a lot from it. Now, nobody is saying that Aston Villa did not deserve to win that game. I didn't say it. And I haven't seen anybody on any other Celtic channel say that Aston Villa did not deserve to win that game. The whole thing of my video, again, I'll link it at the end of this, was that the fact that Celtic went down there, they gave a good account of themselves. Plenty of teams have went to Aston Villa and not performed to the level that Celtic did. They have. And they're in the English Premier League. They've gone to Aston Villa and being absolutely torn apart. Again, Dave, maybe not, Aston Villa have not scored 4 goals, but they've played them off the park. You didn't play us off the park. You played some amazing football. But at times, Celtic played pretty well. And as I said in my previous video, again, I will link it at the end of this, that Celtic deserve their props more from English pundits, English fans. Because when was the last time that Celtic played an English team and struggled? I can't remember it. I can't remember it. But the way that you guys make out that when Celtic play English teams, they get absolutely leathered and dominated. I can't remember the last time that happened. I cannot remember the last time that happened. In 2016 or 2017, was Celtic played Man City? And we drew with them at the Etihad. And we drew with them at Celtic Park and put up an amazing performance. But Dave, as I said to every Villa supporter that commented, listen, you have done great in this competition. You deserve to get to the final 8. And I hope you go on and get past that and do really well. I do. But the whole thing about this was, do not tell me that Celtic couldn't go down to the English Premier League on the same finances as every other team in the English Premier League and not compete, because that's bollocks. Let's crack on and see what Martin's got to say. Martin says, I've watched Villa struggle so often this season with some dreadful performances recently against Against no Premier League team would we score 4 and miss so many chances and a penalty. We lost our attacking option down the right when Cash went off, and that left us with a makeshift defence. Mings and Torres being injured already. Had Cash stayed on, I doubt it would have been 2-2 at half-time. I do agree with Celtic fans though, with the same revenue you'd expect to be up there in the Premier League, but dominating ain't that easy. Listen Martin, I absolutely love this. I do, because you're seeing both sides here. And there is a part of this that I completely and utterly agree with, right? But the fact is, against no Premier League would you score 4. I think Aston Villa are good enough to score 4 against any other team. You're especially good enough to score 4 against Man United, because they are woeful, absolutely shocking, and not even our rivals could beat them. That tells you everything. And listen, Martin, I actually do agree with a good bit that you say. Listen, but it's the same as all the other ones. Everybody's going on about if this hadn't happened, if that had happened. It did happen, so I suppose we'll never know. Now, if Cash had stayed on, would it have stayed 2-2? I don't know, right? But the thing is, he was taken off, and it's as simple as that. But I do like this comment and how you do agree. You've taken your Villa glasses off, and you see that if Celtic were in the English Premier League with the team that they've got now, okay, they would struggle, but with the revenue that comes with the English Premier League, a club like Celtic would definitely be in the mix. Now, as you said there, dominating isn't easy. Of course it's not. And that may be a bit of an over-exaggeration on my part when I say they will be down there and they will dominate, right? But the thing is, you're absolutely right in what you're saying. With that correct revenue, Celtic would definitely be in there, in the mix, in the English Premiership, and they wouldn't look out of place. Simple as that. Because as I said, we go down there already on the finances that we've got, or we play any English team, and it's never been a walkover for any English team. Even for you guys, Villa. Now, you can go on about 7, 8 goals, whatever, but you just didn't get that. And it wasn't a walkover for you, or else, never mind them 7, 8 that you missed, you would have scored another 7, 8. But it wasn't a walkover for you. And Celtic gave a good account of themselves. Right, let's do a couple more, because I absolutely... Listen, guys, I don't care what you say in the comment section. I actually genuinely do like seeing what people are saying in the comment section. As I said, I'm just a Celtic supporter on here giving my opinion. You don't have to agree with my opinion. I don't really care whether you do or you don't agree with it, but it's always good to see your opinion. It does make me think about different things. It does make me maybe analyse things a wee bit more. But let's go, and sort of, this is obviously some guy that's on the same team as me, so let's see what he's got to say. DVP36. Let's face it, what would have happened if CCV, Jota, Maeda and KT were all available? Probably a whole lot different. Even next year, our starting lineup will probably have 6 or 7 upgrades, and that's without Tourist League cash. Listen, it's exactly what I said. Now, you don't have to agree with it, English supporting fans, that your league is a tourist league, but it is. Simple as that. It's a tourist league. It gets so much money thrown into it. It attracts the tourists. That is the reason why it is the best league in the world. Now, people might want to argue about that. As far as I was concerned, at one point in time, La Liga was the best league in the world. Now it's the English Premier League because it is a spectacle. It does have all the best players there, and it does get the most amount of money thrown at it. But I'm with you. And going back and some of these other comments that we have already seen where people are going, yeah, we had a 21-year-old. But listen, look, we had a guy that came on, made his Celtic debut, and Dave Murray, who gave away the 4th goal. Sorry to Dave Murray for that, and I'm sorry to bring that up again. But listen, he made a total arse of that, and that's why you got the 4th goal. That's why the 4th goal came round, right? Because he made an arse of it, but he was making his debut. He panicked, lapse of concentration, it is what it is. And you got the 4th goal. So when you hear people going, we've not scored 4 goals, you shouldn't have got the 4th goal because it was a total blunder on our behalf. But, as you say, you had plenty of chances to score other goals. So maybe that's a bit of a justification there for missing them goals. But It is what it is. I absolutely agree with DVP here, 100%. We are looking at 6 or 7 upgrades, so we'll take that into next season. Obviously, we've got a playoff to play next season. You don't just go straight through. We've got a playoff game to play. Hopefully, Celtic will do well in that, and we'll be back in the Champions League, and we'll be back with the 6 or 7 upgrades and whatever else that we get in the summer window to go in there and hold another good account of ourselves, hopefully. And hopefully this is the start of good things for Celtic in Europe, where we can keep pushing forward and keep trying to improve. Listen, we know where we're at as a club. We know where we're at as a club, especially right now. We've got to take on Bayern Munich next. We've got to take on Bayern Munich next. We had Bayern Munich or we had Real Madrid. And thank God we got Bayern Munich. But we also know that this could be the end of the run, because Bayern Munich are such a good side. And we have to make some sort of difference in the first leg at Celtic Park to really go out there and cling on to a bit of hope. But we know where we're at as a club. But listen, DVP 36, thank you very much for your comment, my man. I really appreciate it. Keep them coming on all the videos. I love to hear what you're thinking. Celtic played English opposition 21 times in European competitions. English teams have won 5 times. Overrated, loudmouths. Listen, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, but I agree. I wish sometimes it's not so much the English fans. Let's just get that right? It's the English pundits who go on there and just slate Celtic and say stuff like, and even Rangers, right? Even Rangers go on there and slate Celtic and Rangers, saying that if they came from the Scottish Premiership into the English Premiership, they would get eaten alive. But listen, all this comes down to, and I will keep saying it, and surely it's going to resonate in everybody's head. It all comes down to money. It's all money. It is all money. If Celtic and Rangers were to go down on the finances, to go down to the English Premiership, on the finances that they've got, would they be eaten alive in the English Premiership? 100%. Of course they would. But what comes with going to the English Premiership? Big money. Big TV deals. Big money. Being in the FA Cup is bigger money than probably Celtic get for winning the league. Right? With being in the English Premiership comes big money, big investments. Look at the likes of Man City not even that long ago. Wasn't even that long ago Man City were absolutely horrendous. And then investors came in, pumped in some amount of money into them. And why did they pump some amount of money into them? Because they're sitting in the best league in the world, right? Because it's a good investment for them. They're in the biggest league in the world with the most money. Any money that they were going to pump into that club, they were going to get that back. It's a good, great business decision. Great business decision. So, listen, overrated loudmouths, there is a certain amount of people in the pundit world or the media that are massive loudmouths. But they know fine well. They know fine well. Celtic or Rangers come down to the English Premier League, then they would be a force to be reckoned with in a couple of years. Once they've got that kind of money behind them, they will be a force to be reckoned with. Nobody can dispute that. Colin Braidwood's on saying, I have to say they could have scored 7 or 8, so I don't think we did hang with them. However, if we got the money they get, we'd be more than enough for the English Premier League. And it's as simple as that. Everything comes down to money, and the only ones who are not saying that is the English pundits, the English media, and some of the English fans that are saying that it's nothing to do with money. It's everything to do with money. It's everything to do with money. Celtic go to the English Premier League. I'm not going to say it again. I am going to say it again. I am going to say it again. Celtic go to the English Premier League. They get the funds that the English Premier League teams are getting. Celtic will be a force down there. It's as simple as that. Now, as I said, I'll say this to even Colin. They didn't score 7 or 8. So, therefore, it is what it is. And if we had taken some of our chances, broke the lines better, made better decisions, then we would have scored more than 4. 2. 4. Then we would have scored more than 2. But we didn't. And they didn't get 7 or 8. So, it is what it is. So not only would it be amazing as a supporter to be able to go and watch your team compete every week against some of the best teams in the world, but financially for Celtic to be in the English Premier League would be amazing. And without a doubt, that investment and that kind of money going into the club, you would be seeing Celtic making better decisions, having better performances in Europe. The only reason that our performances do lack in Europe is financially. We don't have the finances to compete at that level. But listen guys, thanks everyone for sending in their messages. I really do enjoy seeing them. I really do enjoy reacting to them. Remember to keep on commenting below. It is always good to hear what you guys are thinking about it. Any questions or anything you want to discuss, then get it down there. I will put these back up because I do enjoy speaking about these things. It doesn't have to be anything to do with the English Premier League, but the thing is, people do get sick of hearing about the English Premier League, but get fucking used to it, because I've heard it all my life, and my kids are going to hear about it, their kids are going to hear about it. Us Celtic and Rangers going down to English Premier League probably isn't ever going to happen. But would I like to see it? I would like to see it. I would like to see it, but probably not going to happen. But anyway, let's continue and let's talk about some recent Celtic news. So I suppose the big talking point right now is that Celtic got through to the playoff stage and we were up for either getting Real Madrid or Bayern Munich, and we probably got the ones that we all wanted, Bayern Munich. It's because it is probably the easier of the two. Not that it is easy at all. We understand how good Bayern Munich are, and this is the thing. We understand as Celtic supporters where we are at. We know where we're at as a club. And getting into the playoffs is massive for us. And we also know that this could be the end of the road for us. Let's not get it confused, or let's not talk shit. We know that this could be the end of the road. But we are Celtic supporters. We like to dream. And we know that we can be a difficult team to beat, especially at home. And when we are firing on all cylinders, we know that we can make teams like Bayern Munich come to Celtic Park and really, really make it difficult for them. And I missed the game, I think it was 2016 or 2017, where it was 2-1 at Celtic Park, and then I think it was 3-0 at the Allianz Arena, was it? I think it was 3-0. I missed that game, so I'm looking forward to going and watching Celtic play Bayern Munich. But we know fine well how difficult it's going to be. But if we're going to get anything from the game, we have to try and do it in that first leg at Celtic Park. We have to try and make it as difficult as possible for Bayern Munich to score. And possibly, we know that even them coming to Celtic Park, where normally we have a lot of the ball, but European nights are different. Domestically, we have a lot of the ball at Celtic Park. We know that them coming there, as good a side as they are, that they're going to have a lot of the ball, so we're going to have to defend a lot. We're going to be relying on the likes of CCV being fit, Trusty being on his game, Alistair Johnston being on his game, and Greg Taylor also being on their game, because they're going to have their work cut out. But you just never know. I know that Bayern Munich right now, playing away from home, aren't doing the best, so that doesn't mean much, right? But it's a bit of hope for us that they can come to Celtic Park, and hopefully we hope that they're maybe not firing on all cylinders and we can try and get something from the game. In other news, it looks like Lewis Palmer has left the club. Lewis Palmer has now completed his move to Olympiacos on a loan deal until the end of the season. The Greek side has an option to purchase the Honduran international winger for $4 million in the summer. Look, listen, it's not worked out at all for Lewis Palmer. When he first arrived, I've got to admit, when he first arrived at the club and he got his first game, I thought he looked very hopeful. He looked like a winger that wanted to create a lot. He looked like he had a bit of flair about him. He looked like he was possibly another Jota. After Jota going out the door, he looked like he could be another one to sort of fill in that role of another Jota. Listen, it didn't work out that way. I think all of us would be in the agreement with that. Lewis Palmer just didn't work at Celtic. The thing is, doesn't matter what you think about Celtic or what league that they play in. Celtic, there is a massive pressure on you at Celtic to win every single game, but not only to win, to perform every single game. And Lewis Palmer just couldn't do that. He just couldn't do that. For me, he was too slow as a winger. He was too predictable. He always used to cut in inside. He never used to hit the byline. And for me, Lewis Palmer just didn't offer that much in a Celtic jersey. Listen, I wish the guy all the very best with what he does, and I'm sorry that his time at Celtic didn't really go to plan. But for me, he just wasn't. He was just never going to cut it at Celtic. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this because I know fine well we spoke about it before and nothing is actually written down, signed, sealed, delivered, but Brendan Rodgers has came out and said that the Kieran Tierney deal is happening, but it's going to be the summer. Again, he then sort of flipped that off with when somebody asked him, but if you could get it done this month, will that happen? At the time of filming this is Saturday afternoon, we've got until Monday night, I believe, before the transfer window closes to do that deal. If we can still get him here and at the end of this sort of transfer window. I don't think it's going to happen. I said that a while back. It was pretty obvious that with the amount of injuries and that Arsenal have got at this present time, then it doesn't make any sort of business or common sense for them to let Kieran Tierney go back to Celtic right now. But it will be happening in the summer, and that gives us something to really look forward to have Kieran Tierney back at the club. I know there is some mixed emotions, but on a whole, everybody cannot wait to welcome Kieran Tierney back. I was absolutely gutted when he left, but I was one of the ones who understood why he would go, why Celtic wanted to sell him on for such good money. But I am so chuffed that the guy is coming back, and even if that means that we have to wait until the summer. That then does cause a bit of an issue with the left back position. Now I know there's a lot of Celtic supporters who are now desperate for another left back. I am desperate for another left back also, and there's a lot of people saying that left back position and the striker is the two positions that we need to focus on up until the end of this window. And I couldn't agree more, but I don't believe that we'll get another left back in the door. I think they'll run with Greg Taylor, and needs be, they will put Liam Scales in at left back. Therefore, that's then opening you up to the centre back position, because you have to rely on that CCV and Trusty are going to be match fit and ready to go every single game until the end of the season. I hope I'm absolutely wrong in that, and they have got a replacement in there as a left back, especially until Kieran Tierney comes. But I'm not sure that is what they will do. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am wrong, but I think that they will think they've got Liam Scales that they can put in at left back if anything was to happen to Greg Taylor. Again, I hope I'm wrong in that, but I suppose in the next sort of 48 hours, time will tell and we'll know more then. There has been reports on a sign-in to replace Kyogo and Kelechi Iheanacho, I think I've got that right, with reports stating that the club are in talks over a loan deal for his services. Iheanacho burst onto the scene at Manchester City as a youngster, acting as a backup to Sergio Aguero once Pep Guardiola came to the fore. However, a lack of game time saw him move to Leicester City, and 30 Premier League goals in 150 games for the Foxes. He was sold to Sevilla on a free transfer at the start of the season. He barely featured in Spain, and that could see him look for an exit route, with the Glaswegian outfit offering him regular first team football. All of this is absolute hearsay, so I don't know what's true and what's not true. It looks like Celtic are going to be going for more loan deals. But as this transfer window goes on, it started off with all the talk of all the players that it was looking good. This was going to be a good transfer window. I even said that KT coming back, Jota coming back. But until we sort of knew about Kyogo went, and then you're thinking Celtic have obviously got a plan. They've known that Brendan Rodgers has came out and he said, we've known about Kyogo for months. So you think that they've got a plan for this and they've got someone in mind who's going to come in the door and take over Kyogo's role. That doesn't look like that's happening, doesn't look like that is what they've had in mind. So therefore, I have no fucking idea why you would let Kyogo go. For that reason alone, I thought they would have had a plan in place for it. For you to sell your best fucking player or your best striker and to not have a plan B is beyond me. But listen, everything's hearsay in what I've said there. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. As I said, what started out was looking like it was going to be a pretty good transfer window is now going to become an absolute nightmare. And we're talking about strengthening the squad and coming out this transfer window with a stronger squad. I don't believe that's going to happen. I'll be honest with you right now. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think that it's going to be an absolute shambles. The left back situation, for me, is not going to change. They're going to run with Greg Taylor and they're going to run with Liam Scales in there. As I said, I hope I am fucking wrong about that. I hope I'm wrong about that. But I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're going to run with that. And the thing is, Greg Taylor's going to be away. And he's going to be away in the summer for free because he's going to run down his contract. So therefore, they've not got anything in place. Greg Taylor's not staying. They're not going to give him the money that he wants. So he's going to go in the summer for free. We're going to have Kieran Tierney come back in there, but no other replacement. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. What started off as I thought was going to be quite a good transfer window is now turning into a bit of a shambles. Let's be completely honest. But listen, this next 48 hours is going to be crucial. I believe that we need another left back, we need another striker. But right now, I don't know what we're going to get, if we're going to get any of that. And if we are, it's just going to be thrown in there last minute. Let's get a loan deal over the line to try and see out the rest of this season, because it doesn't look like any plan is being put in place for the fact that Greg Taylor might be away and for the fact that Kyogo has been sold. That's what it looks like. But you never know what this next 48 hours will bring. So we've just got to keep our eyes peeled. And it is what it is, but it's not looking good. Listen guys, I've taken up way too much of your time. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for subscribing. I really, really do appreciate it. But if you haven't subscribed, you know what to do by now. Hit the subscribe button below. It helps me grow this channel, which will then help me give me the time to start bringing more content, better content. You all know the score and what I'm planning on doing with this channel. It's not going to be the same as every other Celtic channel. Yes, we will talk about Celtic. Yes, we will talk about transfers, but there's plenty of other Celtic outlets that do that better than me. But we are going to keep it real as a fan, and I am just going to give you my opinion on things, and it is what it is, and I want to see what you guys say in the comment section. But until the next time guys, take it easy out there, stay safe Celtic family, hail hail.